Welcome back to another episode of the Stay Connected podcast. It's your host, Leo Herrera, the Connected Golfer. Today I'm alongside Andrew Holtz. He's a heck of a golfer, a member at a private course, and he's had a lot of experience in the game of golf. So today we're going to be sharing a little bit of those insights he's got and just kind of talking about his journey in the game, how it's helped him evolve his mindset, his life, and how he correlates that now to what he's doing with business and real estate. And we'll get into all of that as we go. But Andrew, thank you so much for being on, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Leo. This is cool.
Absolutely. So me and Andrew, we've known each other now for probably a couple of years, and you're a scratch golfer. We go neck and neck in our matches
Yeah, we have good
quite a
matches
bit.
out there for sure.
Yeah. So I'm interested. I really like getting started with this. Like, how did you get started with the game of golf?
So, probably picked up a club for the first time when I was 6 or 7 years old. My brother was 12 at the time. He was starting to play quite seriously. And then every time he was going to the driving range, I wanted to go out there naturally and then just quickly got hooked. I think I hit one ball on the center of the club face, and that was it. That feeling of seeing the ball fly through the air, like that was it for me. And quickly realized that I wanted to pursue the game seriously. And then it all just kind of took off from there. Started playing competitively, probably like in middle school, seventh grade, eighth grade, Florida Junior Tour, FCWT, Doral Publix was a huge event back in the day. And then had a nice high school career, considered playing in college. That didn't really shake out the way I was hoping it would. And then continue to play weekly, try to play twice a week now that I'm working. And yeah, the game's been super good to me. My dad's obsessed with the game. All my friends play, so that has definitely helped me stay connected to the game. And I just love the relationships I've made on the golf course. And I truly think this is the greatest game in the world. And I
No, that's
feel I feel sorry, honestly, for those that don't play.
Yeah, no, that's spot on, man. You're truly devoted to the game of golf. And in the beginning, let's go back to when you really started. You were playing junior golf tournaments, and you said, like, how was that experience growing up as a junior golfer playing tournaments with the pressure to like try to get into college, maybe play professionally because you knew you wanted to get after?
Yeah, it's crazy. Looking back, I actually can't believe that I did that because competitive golf is just such a different animal than going out on a Saturday and playing with your buddies. Like, it's just a different game, basically. And when you play tournament golf, you realize how good these guys are on tour because it's literally a different game, different sport, tournament golf versus leisure golf.
Yeah,
And trying to hit shots under pressure when your body feels some type of way and trying to calm your nerves down, yeah, it's something that not everybody can do. And the fact that we did that so like nonchalantly, like middle school and high school, I think was like, yeah, kind of like a pat on our back, like kind of like a cool moment as young athletes to be able to conquer and do something that definitely has a lot of pressure.
for sure. Yeah. And I'm curious too, like how your experience was, as you were playing like competitive junior golf to then the moment when you got into college and you were like, I don't know if I'm going to take this to the next level. Like I'm going to have to kind of give up what I was kind of doing this whole time.
Right.
Can you talk to me a little bit about how that transition was for you on a mental and like emotional level?
So I definitely had a better high school competitive golf career than I did tournament playing wise, like outside of high school competition. And I think looking back, I wish I'd played a little bit better in those tournaments outside of high school competition because that's something that the college coaches really look more at. And then when it came time to applying to colleges, even though I thought that I was good enough for these teams, I sort of got the same feedback from all the coaches that my resume was just not up to par in these other tournaments, like some of these other kids that they were scouting. And yeah, I didn't think I got a fair shot, basically. I tried to apply to a lot of Division 1 schools that were definitely reaches, but after seeing, the scoring averages of the kids that were already there, I thought that I could definitely like pull my own and yeah, never really got that opportunity and just didn't pursue it any further than that. Continued to play for fun in college. It was nice to be one of the better golfers amongst my friends and yeah, I still love the game and it was bittersweet for sure back then, but yeah, very happy the way everything unfolded, wouldn't change any of it. And yeah, happy where I'm at and with my golf game.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And like, it truly is such a tough like transition. That story right there that you said, so many junior golfers go through it where they're like, they feel like they got the game, but when it comes to that one tournament, they got to play solid. Like, they just don't put up the results when it matters most, and it almost feels like they're really underappreciated. I think that's the word I would kind of sum up that experience. At least for me, like I was scouted by a couple of colleges, but I mean, I had what I thought was a pretty good resume going into through junior golf, and for me, it was still tough to get into conversations with some of these schools, and I ended up going with the one that I just got an offer from that was most appealing, and but I didn't have that many options. So this is something that really happens to a lot of junior golfers in the system that's built, and I feel like there's a gap. There's an opportunity there for more opportunities to open up for the game, to grow the game. We
Of
love to say
course,
it,
of course.
but what do you think could be some of the things that golf can implement to help grow the game for these junior golfers that are looking to really go towards the competitive level and build kind of like a career through this?
It's tough because it's really one way or the other. You can go the content creating route on the golf course, or you can pound pavement and try to make it in the competitive realm. And I use the example of Good Good, a really successful social media group, bunch of good golfers, create great content. Number of those guys could have played college golf, professional golf, but ultimately they realize that like they don't necessarily enjoy that, and that's not what they want to do with their golf game to maybe make money, have fun, further their careers, and they've decided to go to the content creating route where I'm sure they've become even more lucrative than they ever could have imagined, having gone the pro route or grinding, going on mini tours, all the travel, the hotels, you name it. The expenses add up. So I think it just depends on what you think you're going to be best at. I know people that have pounded pavement for 10 years, web.com, Corn Ferry, never really made it, and they're now realtors or lawyers. Should they have gone the content creating route? Who knows? But, I know that those guys wouldn't have traded their experience for any of it. And it just depends on what your niche is and what you think you're good at, and then trying to pursue that as a career.
100%. Yeah. I mean, for me as the connected golfer, I've always like had the vision of like inspiring the next generation of golfers to look down a different path,
Mm,
not just go down the same traditional system of thinking. And
right.
it's not even about doing something different. Like obviously that's a result of it. It's just, setting your mindset completely different than what's, normal. And, that's kind of what has helped me go down a new path, and I'm still discovering my path and understanding where it is that I'm going with the game and how I can help grow the game. But my purpose transitioned from just winning tournaments to actually helping grow the game and build a legacy for the game. That's kind of what wakes me up in the morning every day, and it's helped me stay passionate in the game of golf. What are some of the things that's helped you stay passionate with golf?
Just touching on what you just said, I think if you want to grow the game, then the best thing that you could do is create content and create a way to engage with the people out there to play the sport. So I think if your goal is to grow the game, then the content creating route is perfect. Because then you can post all these videos that will get people interested in the game with cool edits and so forth. And eventually you'll get them on the golf course and they'll see what they've been missing this whole time.
Yeah.
And then just repeat what was your last question.
What keeps you passionate to the game? Like, what is that thing that really is like, wow, I love golf. I'm never leaving golf.
I love how hard it is. I love how
Nice.
difficult it is. That's probably what draws me to it the most. I see some of the greatest athletes in the world able to tackle every sport, and then you put a golf club in their hand, and it's like they look like, yeah, they look
Yeah,
like they're not the greatest athlete.
I know.
And
It's pretty unbelievable. And
it's so unique. It's one of those sports where no matter how good of an athlete you are, you will struggle at first, and it takes years, hours of repetition, muscle memory. And yeah, I truly think it's the most difficult game and one of the hardest things to do in sports, hit a golf ball.
yeah, And touching on that, I mean, you're a scratch golfer, so you're in a position to really talk about kind of your strategy with golf and what's helped you actually get better. What do you believe is the key to becoming and maintaining a scratch handicap?
So I think it's important to understand how your body moves. And I think not everybody's bodies moves the same. So you can't teach one thing to everybody. You have to sort of take everybody as they are and then work with what they have. I think too many swing coaches try to implement their thoughts, their little tactics or whatever that they have when it comes to coaching, and it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. And they try to instill this, and sometimes it just doesn't work. I'll give you an example. Some people naturally have fast tempos. Some people naturally have slow tempos. Hideki Matsuyama naturally has a slow tempo. If you asked him to speed everything up, he would not be successful. Matthew Fitzpatrick has a fast tempo. If you asked Matthew Fitzpatrick to pause at the top of his backswing, he would struggle big time like a Cam Young does. So you just have to work with what you have from an athletic standpoint and then build from there.
Really finding your rhythm. I mean, to me, I was hitting balls this morning and thinking about this. It's like when you're hitting balls, for example, just at the range, one shot at a time, it's like to me, I immerse myself in finding my rhythm in every swing that I hit, and really being in tune with like what is it that my body is like wanting to do. Like
Hmm.
not even me trying to make anything happen, but like naturally, like what does it
Right.
just do?
And every day is different. And that's also the hardest thing about golf is it's 4 days in a row and every single day is going to feel different over the course of that tournament. I don't know why. For sure, in every other sport, it's not the case. I doubt LeBron James walks into the gym and all of a sudden picks up the basketball and it feels totally different than it did the day before. But that's how the golf swing is. So you definitely have to take every day as see what you have for that day and just try to work with it. And if it comes to going to the driving range, which is something I don't do very often, but I would imagine if I did, I would imagine I would hit a couple wedges, see the results of that, and then say, okay, like this feels good, this feels weird, and then try not to think too much about it because I'm always a firm believer that it'll always work itself out once you get out on the golf course. The range is for loosening up, feeling something, working on something. It's not about trying to hit 27 irons in a row that land within a towel's distance of one another. I don't think that's what the range is for. I think it's for working on stuff, feeling something, and then trying to take that onto the golf course.
Yeah. So you talk about it. I mean, you don't have that much time to hit the range, yet you're still able to go out there and score pretty good. So I want to talk a little bit about your mental strategies on the golf course that you use to, keep your scores at a pretty level to par.
Yeah, I guess I'm blessed with like a pretty connected golf swing, you could say. I don't hit many
Yes.
wayward shots. My bad shots tend to be not that bad. The golf courses that I play are not that difficult, which can also help. But yeah, just yeah, just honestly, just years of repetition, man. I've been playing this game for so long. I feel so comfortable out there, even on the days that feel weird. The club just feels good in my hands. I've got good vibes out there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm fortunate. I play at a decent level, and I'm able to kind of repeat that on a weekly basis.
So, what would you say to someone that's getting started with the game? Let's say maybe they're 1 to 3 years into golf and they feel like they have this whole, long journey that they have to go through and they're never going to get to that scratch handicap. What do you
I
got to
think,
say for them
yeah,
to stay connected to the game?
play as many rounds as possible. It's not about beating as many balls on the range as possible. Try to play rounds as much as possible. Put yourself in the real element of playing the golf course, just you and the golf course, and just see how you can do. And every single day you'll feel more comfortable with the different shots that you have to hit out there. And I just think you got to play. You just
Yeah.
that's the best
Because you
advice
end up
I could give.
teaching yourself the game. Like you go through a process where the game just kind of gives you the feedback you need to
Right.
improve. If you're really connected to the moment and the experience that you're living. That's why I really recommend a lot of people to start walking during their rounds of golf. Like really immerse yourself in the experience of the
Walking is
game
great.
because
I
it's
definitely
a
think
completely different element.
it
And
is.
most of the tournaments that we played and I play are still, walking. So like it's where you
And
get the true
feel
experience
like
of
a
golf.
pro. You feel like a pro when you're walking, playing
Yeah.
golf too, because you know the pros are always walking. They're never using a cart. And when you're walking, and then the other element, if you have a caddy, somebody who's carrying your bag, or even just like driving the cart while you're walking, that just gives it that other element of intensity, seriousness, stadium-like feel, tournament-like feel. And when you're hitting a good shot, you're walking, you get into a sort of rhythm. Caddy hands you the putter after you hit the green, long walk with a putter. All of that contributes to, good scores, playing well, things like that.
Okay. So now I want to transition a little bit away from the game and techniques, but talk a little bit more about the private club experience you've been able to kind of like live. I'm a member at Doral, so I have a very good understanding how these types of clubs, the experiences that you can have. You're a member at Lagorce here in Miami. What do you enjoy most about being a member at this particular club?
I think with any membership, it's nice to belong. It's nice to go to a place where you know you're already accepted, if that makes sense. And it's just a very relaxing atmosphere. It's nice to be able to go somewhere that's quiet, where you can park yourself, you can bring everything yourself. You don't have to check in with 12 different people, leave this here, walk over there, pay there. It streamlines the whole golfing experience. It's obviously unique. It's not available to everybody. I understand that, but yes, it is quite amazing. It's definitely special. Never take it for granted, and I want to share whenever I can those experiences with people, and that's why I often have guests and welcome people to my club as often as I.
Yeah. I want to go a little bit deeper into this one because I think, in my opinion, these private clubs have such an opportunity to grow the game because of the type of capital that's kind of moved around within the club, but also, like the actual place. Most of these clubs are really, really nice places to play golf at. What do you
Yeah,
think
I
are some
definitely.
ways that because I know at the end of the day, it is a private club. People are paying good money to be there and maintain the privateness of it. But what are some of those things that could happen in these clubs to help grow the game?
So it's interesting. It can go in one way or the other. You can have the public course try to somehow come about getting more resources to grow the game, or you can get the private club to become a little bit more inclusive when it comes to growing the game. Maybe having days that are open to the public for them to come and enjoy a very unique experience that they wouldn't have maybe once a year or something like that. But there's definitely a disconnect in the golfing world. Used to be very elitist, this, that, and the other. I think it's come a long way in terms of, connecting the two worlds together, which is amazing. And just continuing for that progression to continue, having sort of this elitist, snobby culture that golf has always been surrounded by, with the more inclusive, blue collar approach, and bringing those two worlds together.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a dilemma. And yeah, I would love for some private clubs, especially mine, to maybe do something like that, where you can have maybe like a pro day or a clinic, and you have somebody come and hit balls on the range and giving like a lesson for people to come and watch, and then eventually, giving it a try themselves, playing a few holes out there. I definitely think it's a good idea, but just something that I think only with time that gap will sort of become smaller.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, they're really you guys are paying for an experience and to be a part of a community. And I mean, I believe these private clubs are always having events happening for the members to keep them engaged. But there's always opportunity for these experiences to be enhanced and for things to just stand out more. And I just think there's so many really nice courses, and I understand that this it's a high ticket to be able to get in, but being more inclusive to an experience that makes sense, not just open it up for everyone for one day so they could just mess around. It's like no, like a deliberate thing that okay, it's still a win-win scenario. you're opening it up to maybe people that can't afford to be there or play, but you're also being selective with the people that are coming in because they're adding value to the people that are already in, and
I like
everyone's
how
happy.
you express that. Like people who maybe don't have the means to, but fully culturally align with everything that's going on at these private clubs. They conduct themselves in the right way, and they're desirable people that you would want to meet and be around, basically.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of the people that I'm actually referring to are these mini tour pro golfers that are really struggling to make a living in the mini tour life because there's not much money in the game on the baseline
I know
level,
how hard it is, for
but they're
sure.
so valuable for the game of golf. I mean, you see half of those guys in the mini tour like tournaments, and you're like, these why aren't these guys on tour? Their swing is like right on point, like to be able to do so.
Hmm.
And I just feel like there's so much talent out there that's underappreciated, and simply just because of the way the system was kind of put together. But I think this is a really low hanging fruit that hopefully the game can kind of start bridging the gap on, and give more accessibility to.
It's a great idea. I actually participate in an event, a little bit about what we're talking about, but on like the much larger scale. Winged Foot Golf Club in New York, a US Open venue, obviously an extremely private club. They host a diabetes golf and golf charity tournament at their venue. There's a member there who's diabetic and partners with the DRI to host a charity golf tournament at a place that otherwise would never do something like this. So if he was able to do something with a medical organization, surely another private club could get 20 mini tour guys together and their friends to put together something at one of their clubs for a 1 day event. It's one of the great events that I've ever been to. And I know that everybody very much appreciates being able to play Winged Foot for a great cause, which is something that otherwise they would never be able to.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about sharing that experience of the game to the world so they can actually get a sense for it and a taste. Because I'm
Mhm.
sure, those guys that never had the chance to play Winged Foot and were able to get that chance that day, like, are like inspired to play golf when they
Right.
leave. And you leave them connected to the game. And they're going to be out there like, hey, like, I want to keep being around this because, these are the type of opportunities and experiences that I can live. It's truly breathtaking, some of these courses that are out there. The experience that you get, it's very, there's a lot of ecstasy running through
Yeah, it's
through.
so rewarding. No, it's so rewarding.
Yeah. So, Andrew, talk to me a little bit about what your best piece of advice you've ever received as a golfer that's helped your game.
It's not about hitting the shortest club the furthest. Wow.
How simple is that?
As soon as you get your ego out of the way and you're not so concerned about being able to hit your full 9 iron 160 because the guy next to you can, you will hit so much better golf shots. You will shoot so much lower scores because I guarantee you these pros, when they're standing over a shot, and all right, we'll give an example. 160 yards. Can Rory hit his 9 iron 160 yards? I'm sure he could. But a little bit of wind, it's the morning, air's a little bit thick. He's probably thinking to himself, my normal nine's not going to fly as far. I think I can hit a better shot if I just hit an 8 iron a little softer. And then naturally, he's going to make a much smoother connected swing, and the result is going to yield exactly that. So,
And the thing is, you could still put in the same intensity in the swing, just like
right.
you're shortening it up and
You
you're
still have
keeping
to
it
make a
tight.
golf swing. You still have to make a good committed golf swing. It's just now you're realizing that it's not about hitting the shortest club the furthest, even though you think you can, or yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I really started to get good at the game of golf, was realizing that.
So do you think that was kind of the main thing that's helped you gain or maintain consistency in your golf game over time?
100%. Hitting more knockdown shots, trying to swing smoother. I'm definitely somebody who swings too hard with their irons, and I wish I swung more balanced. I think as somebody who is a scratch golfer, I swing very imbalanced and it bothers me. And every time I tell myself to slow it down, I always make a better, more balanced golf swing. Afterwards, I'm like, why don't we just do that every time? Like, Why are we out here trying to hit these gap wedges 135 yards when we can
Yeah.
easily hit a little nine? It's incredibly frustrating in the moment. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's literally golf.
And one of the most liberating things is to be able to understand how simple the game is. Because we go into it and it's like it's so complex. There's so many things to think about. But when you're able to simplify it, have a formula that works for you, the liberation that you feel is what's really going to get you to that scratch golfer better than scratch golfer. Because it's like, I guarantee you, all these tour pros, all these guys that are at a scratch or better level, they all have their own formula. They know their game, they know how to go about it, and they stick to the simple things. I mean, it's
Yeah.
literally
That's
that simple.
that's what's so frustrating about this game is like there's so many different ways to go about it. At the end of the day, you got to get the ball in the hole and you add it all up at the end. Some guys look a lot better than others out there, but sometimes it's the uglier swings or the weirder moves that yield the better scores.
Yeah.
And yeah, it can drive you crazy when you're playing with a guy who's slapping it up there a couple times and then making every putt where you're striping every ball and just can't seem to, convert your opportunities. And here you are all square and there's no pictures on the scorecard.
Yeah. And it's truly a life lesson right there, how golf directly correlates with life. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you know who you are as a person, and you'll have a plan, you'll have a vision. All you got to do is now stay connected to that vision and who you are. And it's the same thing with golf. If you know your game, just stay connected to your process on every shot and just add them up at the end. And I'm sure you're not going to be adding much.
I think Arnold Palmer said golf is like life. You get bad breaks from good shots and good breaks from bad shots, but in the end, all you can do is play the next one.
Boom.
And I mean, that's
That's
right.
it right
You
there.
can't control what's in the past. Another little analogy that's not golf related, but Roger Federer recently said that I think he only won in his entire career 54% of his points. Of all the points that were played, not games, not tournaments, of all the points that he played, he only won just over half. So that tells you that all you really have to focus on is what's next because you can't control what happened before that.
Yeah.
All you can control is the next point.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that mentality that whatever happened in the past doesn't matter, you'll be able to be successful. And this is from the most successful tennis player who only apparently won half of the points that he played.
Yeah. And that's what I really want the viewers and the listeners at home to kind of come out of this with. Is like the game of golf, it's more than just a swing. It's more than just hitting the shot. It's really about immersing yourself in an experience of personal development.
Yeah,
Like through every single shot, you got to be patient, committed, and stay humble through the process. That's kind of my three pillars there. But I
if
mean,
you
I
really
think,
want to learn a lot about a person, spend 4 hours with them on a golf course.
yeah,
I
you're the
mean,
second guy in the pod that said that. So
you will learn everything you need to know about a person, and that's what makes golf one of the greatest games ever.
it
Is
truly is.
it shows your truest color.
100%, man. Andrew, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. You shared a lot of really, really good insights and nuggets. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on, Leo. Stay connected.
Stay connected. Thank you guys for listening. On to the next one.
Take care.